Hi everyone. I hope one second. Let me just check this. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm live here. So today we'll be discussing about the characteristics of root. So from this chapter, so it is absorption by root. So whenever you start studying a new chapter, so please make sure that you are looking at the syllabus and scope of syllabus which is mentioned at the beginning of the chapter. So this one anyway I have taken from the Selena textbook, okay, and you can just have a look at this. So basically syllabus or the scope of syllabus which is mentioned here, so this will highlight you like what exactly you need to concentrate on. So absorption by roots, imbibition process, diffusion process, osmosis process, like what exactly is osmotic pressure, the root pressure, turgidity and flaccidity, the plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, like all these in brief it is mentioned along with active and passive transport, importance of root hair, the rise of water up to the xylem, the general idea of cohesive and adhesive forces, transpiration pull. So all these different experiments which are mentioned, so that you need to just practice. So mainly the scope of syllabus will highlight like what exactly you need to concentrate on, the characteristics of root, and also the structure of fully grown root hair that you need to have an ideology on. Experiments, so experiments are important. So experiment to show the conduction of water through the xylem should be discussed, and mention the causative forces, so that must be made basically for better understanding. So this is basically just follow the syllabus as well as the scope of syllabus. So there is nothing coming out of this portion which is mentioned. So you just make sure that you are looking or you are studying this particular thing thoroughly, okay. Alright, so before I start, so today's topic is characteristics of root hair. So before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I'm an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. So join with us in Telegram for homework and class notes. You can join the channel Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology, and the Telegram channel of Unacademy ICSE and ISE both. So this link you can find in the description box. So there are special classes which are being conducted by different educators. So basically you will have access to these classes which is absolutely free, and here certain percentage of topics will be covered, and you can attend any of these courses which are basically free, and you will have access to the quiz that are conducted by the different educators in these special classes. So you can engage with educators via poll. So we'll be conducting a quiz, and at the end of the quiz we'll be sharing the leaderboard so that you can know your rank and compete with your friends. So clear your doubt in the live special class. So now for the top special classes, you can visit the link in the description. So now you can find the link of special class, you can find the link of what is that, the Telegram channel of Unacademy ICSE and ISE boards, okay. And other than that, these are basically the plus classes, and these are subscription classes, okay. So that means here 100% syllabus coverage will be there, and basically you can learn live from the comfort of your home, unlimited access to all the courses. So different educators will come up with different courses, so you will have access to all the courses once you take the subscription. Then top educators of India are going to take the classes in one platform, so that is Unacademy platform. There is a regular doubt clearing session that will be conducted, so that is after about every 3 session, the 4th session will be a doubt clearing session. So whatever doubts you have related to the topics that are previously covered, so you can clear your doubt in the doubt clearing session. And this can also be called as a answer writing session. So basically we can conduct a quiz or a discussion on structured question, that is diagram based questions can be done. So any question and answer that you want to answer, so that can also be done here in the doubt clearing session. So doubt clearing session, it is more of an interactive session where what you have understood, so that also will be analyzed in this particular session. Then complete syllabus coverage is anyway done. Mentorship and guidance is also given. The study material, so that will be uploading a PDF, so that you will have access to the PDF once you take the subscription. So in that case, you can go to the class link. From there you can find the class note, that is basically a PDF itself, which is uploaded by the educator. Then practice tests are given, live test series are conducted. We have batches in English as well as in English. Okay, so once you take the subscriptions, you will have access to English batch, you will have access to English batch as well. So now depending on your comfort, you can go for the English batch or the English batch. Okay, so this is completely your choice. And other than that, there is a daily practice section that will be there. Weekly mock test series. So right now we have a weekly mock test series, which is basically a scholar test that is going on for plus learners. So you will have access to those test series. Live quizzes are being conducted. Daily MCQ and subjective test series are also conducted. So you will have access to all of this once you take the subscription. And Unacademy plus subscription pricing, so this is basically you can try with 12 months of subscription. So since this is the very beginning of your academic year, or basically if you are subscribing for complete class 9, that is 12 months, so you will be getting class 10, class 11 and class 12 subscription absolutely free along with this. So for that you can use the code VANIYT. So this is the code. So with this referral code, you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. All right. All right. So let's see this, that is absorption by root. So I discussed about the syllabus and the scope of syllabus that you need to follow. And this is the very beginning of your chapter, that is plant physiology, where you will be studying about the absorption by roots. You will be studying about the transpiration in plant physiology, then photosynthesis, chemical coordination. So all these are important processes that are there, so that you will be studying in detail under the plant physiology. But in today's class, I'll be discussing about the characteristics. So characteristics of root hair, like what exactly should be the nature of this root hair in order for a proper absorption of a water and then the mineral. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So this is absorption by the root. Now what exactly does a root do? So roots fix the plant in the soil. So function of root is what? Fixation of a plant, so that is in the soil, so providing it a support. But the most important life supporting function of the root is basically to absorb the water and then the mineral. So water is taken, the minerals are taken, and this is basically done by the root. So that is, there are tiny cells, so that we call as root hair, and that is just a single cell, so that is unicellular cell. So root hair, when we mention, so let's say this is a root nerve. Okay, and you can find many tiny root hair like structures over there. Okay, so this root hair is nothing but a single cell where you can see a cytoplasmic extension along with the cell wall and the cell membrane. So that is just a single cell itself. So in that case, the root hair is going to fix, so root is going to fix the plant in a soil, and it also does the major function, so that is the life supporting function of root. So that is to absorb water and mineral elements, or basically the mineral nutrients from the soil, and this is to conduct them into the stem, that is to supply them to the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, and basically you can see many different functions that are being done here. And the supply of this particular water and mineral is done to all the different parts of the plant body. So let's have a look at the characteristics of root hair. Any doubt till here? Any of you? Alright. So characteristics of root for absorbing the water. So what should be the characteristics of this root in order to absorb more and more water? So ability of the roots to draw water from a soil is dependent on three characteristics. Okay. So one is a huge surface area. So why there is a requirement of a huge surface area? So why this is required? Anybody? So why there is a requirement of huge surface area? Hmm? Yes. Why is this required? So huge surface area. What is the advantage of having a huge surface area? That means the root which is growing in the soil. Okay. So root is gonna cover up. So roots will cover up the maximum surface. Okay. So they'll cover up a maximum surface so that they can take the possible water and the mineral that is available at that particular site. Okay, so this is available water and the minerals are taken there, and that's the reason you can see that the roots go on spreading. So there is a huge surface area which is required. So if you see like any trees, if you have seen, so let me just show you this. This will start to spread its root. So basically there is a growth. So let's say here is the water that is available. So it will start to grow towards the water. So let's say it can feel the water is here. So the root will start to go towards this one. So let's say water is here. So basically it will start. So that is, it will have attraction towards the water. So the growth of the root will occur towards the water. Okay, so that is hydrotropism, geotropism. So different concepts you will learn in chemical coordination. But before that, yes, the root growth is towards the water, where the water availability. So it is to basically to take in maximum amount of water and the mineral. So ability of the roots to draw water from the soil is dependent on three characteristics. So one is huge surface area which is provided by the rootlets and the root hair. So what is that? So now this is the root. Okay, and this root when we mention, so again this will have the rootlets as such. So basically you can see the divisions in that, and this will have a tiny root hair again. So there can be root hair formation that can be seen, and with this root hair basically this is going to absorb maximum amount of water. Okay, now root hair containing the solution, that is cell sap, at a higher concentration than that of the surrounding soil water. We'll discuss what exactly is the second point now. And the root hair having a thin wall. So how exactly this is helpful in absorbing the water, so that also we will see. Okay, so any doubt? Any of you? Okay, so let's have a look at this. That is, surface area of root is enormous. So how it is enormous? You can just have a look at this picture which is given here. A freshly germinated seed which is showing the single root, that is with the root hair. So you can see many of the root hair, and there is a single cell, single root. So what is the meaning of that? The epidermal cell there in the single root which is there. So each and every epidermal cell is extending, and that is extended form itself is the root hair formation. So here this plant is trying its best to cover the maximum possible area so that it can absorb more water and more minerals there. So surface area of roots is enormous. So that is because it is a common experience that even a small garden plant such as balsam when gently uprooted, that is from the soil, shows a thick bunch of rootlets. So basically you can see a thick bunch of rootlets. That means many of the rootlet formation you can see. Okay, so when carefully examined, so each rootlet would show hundreds of root hair. So that is, you can see now here they have given an example of a balsam. Okay, so you can see the figure 4.1. This is figure 4.1. It is a common experience that even a small garden plant, so this one is basically a balsam plant. Okay, and this balsam plant, when we mention, so when we just try to uproot it, okay, so we are just removing it out. So when we just uproot it, so you can see the main root. So there is this main root, what you see here. So this is the main root, and with this main root, now you will just basically see the bunch of rootlets. So that is root branches. So these are the bunch of rootlets that you see. Now for each of these bunch of rootlets, if you carefully observe, or when you carefully observe it or examine, so each rootlet, so now this is one rootlet, so now as such each rootlet would show hundreds of root hair. So that means there are tiny root hair that you can see over here, and these tiny root hair are also gonna help in taking up a water, that is along with the mineral. So if all the root hair of this particular plant were to be laid end to end, so now this is a root, so this is a rootlet that you can see. So this one is a rootlet, and the rootlet is having many hundreds together root hair, so tiny root hair structure that you can see onto this one when you observe it carefully. So now we are just trying to end these, like join this, not end this, trying to join this end to end. So this would cover up to kilometers of area. So that means being in the same place, it is covering the maximum possible area, so that as the coverage of a maximum possible every, area is done. So wherever the water availability is there, mineral availability is there, so this is going to take up that water and a mineral there. So if all the root hair of this plant were to be laid end to end, so they would cover a length of many kilometers. So that means you can see many even though it is not moving kilometers and all, but there itself, if I just, let's say, you take out the plant, okay, so that is you pluck a plant from your garden, so that is a tiny plant, and just try to join them end to end. So let's say this is a root hair, so this root hair you will just go on and join them end to end. So being in the same place itself, so there is a possibility that this can cover up to kilometers, or length up to not just meters or centimeters. It is basically kilometers together area that this is gonna cover. All right, and that enormous surface area is gonna help in a proper uptake of the water and a mineral. So that is the characteristic which is mentioned for the root hair, or mainly the root. So that means a huge surface area is provided by the rootlet and the root hair. So moving on to next one. Any doubt? Any of you? Okay, so let's have a look at this. Just a second. Alright, so now a botanist called as Yeche Dittmer, okay, that is in the year 1937, so worked out that a 4-month-old rye plant he had taken, so that is an aggregate root length of about 600 kilometer. So what we just discussed, so we were discussing that it would cover up to kilometers of length. Here you can see that tiny plant, which is about just 4-month old, okay, and this is just 4-month old, but you can just imagine the capacity that it has got with coverage of the surface area. So this can cover up to 600 kilometer. So number of root hair in it exceeded 14 billion. So what was mentioned in the previous slide, so it mentioned that so root hair are there, so per each, like for each root hair, I mean sorry, rootlet, so you can find up to hundreds of root hair. Okay, so you could see that in this one. Okay, so there are, so you cannot count them, so there are so many of the rootlets already present, and each of these rootlets are again going to have the root hair. So that means there are about 14 billion root hair which exceeded that, even that, and their estimated total length would even exceed 10,000 kilometer. So this is for a overall, so this is a root length which is about 600 kilometer, and the overall length would exceed, so that is about 10,000 kilometers. So thus altogether the roots of any plant, so they are going to provide a huge surface area. This is to facilitate the absorption of water. So while the absorption of water is happening, so you can see the mineral is also being absorbed, because the cell wall is freely permeable. It allows the solute to enter, it allows the solvent to enter. So in that case, you can see that the root along with the rootlet will form about 600 kilometer, and the root hair alone, so it can cover up to 10,000 kilometer as well, that is being in the same place. So thus it is, it will provide a huge surface area, that is to facilitate the absorption of water. So what we say that the animals move and get everything that they need. You can just have a look at the capacity of these plants. So these plants, what they do, like they are not moving, but they are still there in the same position, but yes, they are fulfilling their demand, that is by spreading their roots. So there is a movement, but not with respect to plant body movement, but the root is growing, rootlet is growing, the root hair is growing. So you can see that basically it is trying to take the all the necessary nourishments which are there in the soil along with the water. Okay, so now root hair contain a cell sap. So this is the second point which is explained with respect to the root hair. Okay, one second, any of you, any doubt, is this clear? Okay, so now this is with respect to root hair, which is having a cell sap that is of a higher concentration than that of the surrounding water. So what is the meaning of that? Now there is epidermal cell, so I'll just draw it and explain, or you can just have a look at this. Okay, so this is the extension of the epidermal cell itself. So you can see this one is the epidermal cell. So there is a cell wall, there is a cell membrane. You can see there is a cytoplasm that has come, and this one is a vacuole, and then you can see there is a nucleus. Okay, so this one is a completely a epidermal cell itself. Now let's have a look at this. That is, root hair contain a cell sap. So what exactly is cell sap? Anybody? So this is, the cell sap is mentioned. So what exactly is cell sap? Any of you, those who know the answer? Cell sap is basically water. Okay, so water is there, and along with that you can find some of the minerals that are absorbed. Okay, so along with the water that is being absorbed, so you can see the mineral absorption also. So it is water plus mineral. So cell sap, when we mention, basically absorption of water and minerals can be seen in this one. So now with respect to that, so cell sap, in order to absorb the water and minerals, so what it should have, so basically the tonicity has to be maintained. Okay, so that is what is tonicity now. So there has to be a concentration gradient. So what is that concentration gradient? That is, concentration difference has to be there then only you can see the movement, or otherwise there is no movement. Okay, so if both the concentration are same, so there is no net movement. All right, so one side it should be of like hypotonic solution, which is basically a dilute solution, and there has to be a hypertonic solution. So only if a concentration difference is there, so then you can see basically the movement of water from hypotonic solution to the hypertonic. Okay, so now let's say this is a cell. Okay, so this one is the epidermal cell, and this is the root hair that is extended now. And this one is the cell membrane. So let's draw the cell wall also over here. So I'll just draw it for one cell. Okay, so this is basically a cell wall. All right, so now with respect to this, so this is the cell wall that you can find in here. Okay, so this is what cell wall. All right, so now with respect to this, so this is a root hair. Okay, and this root hair, when we mention, so this is basically root hair which will start to grow. So you can find there are meristematic tissues will be there. So with this meristematic tissue, so basically you can see the growth of this root hair, that is by continuous division. So you can see the tip that keeps on growing. Okay, now this is with cell. So this is, okay, one second, what I said, no, this one is epidermal cell. So I said that there is the tip. So this is not exactly the tip, the epidermal extension itself. So there is no meristematic, only at the root tip. So now this one I'm talking with respect to epidermal. So in epidermal there is no meristematic. So this one is basically just the extension of a cell, you can see. So I'll just erase this part. So this is just the extension of the cell basically. So this is the extension of the cell which is done, and that we call as a root hair. So there is no meristematic tissue. So this one, what I was explaining, that is applicable for the root tip as well as the shoot tip. Okay, here this one, for this it is only the extension. So extension of the epidermal cell, and let's say here you can find the cytoplasm there inside. So this will be completely inside. Here you can find a cytoplasm. So in the cytoplasm you can see there is a vacuole that is present there. Okay, so this one is what? This is basically a cytoplasm inside this. Okay, so now you can find a vacuole also there. So this is completely a cytoplasm. So vacuole is present, and that vacuole, when we mention, so basically it is also forming this structure where you can see that the vacuole is covering the huge surface area there. Okay, so maximum space is covered by the vacuole as well. So there is a vacuole that is present. So that means now as the point mentions here, so that is root hair contains cell sap, so that is of a higher concentration than that of the surrounding water. So in that case the root hair are the extension of the outer epidermal cell. So you can have a look at this. So this one is the epidermal cell, so which is extending further. So there is the growth of this particular cell. Okay, so in that case we can mention that this is basically a cytoplasm. So this whole thing is a cytoplasm, and with the cytoplasm you can even see basically the nucleus that is present, and there is a vacuole part. So let's say this part over here as it is labeled, so this one is represented as a vacuole over there. So vacuole is seen, the cytoplasm is seen, the nucleus is seen over there. So with all this, basically in the vacuole high concentration of cell sap is maintained. So this one over here, so this will have a high concentration. So let me just change this. One second. Yeah, so this one will have a high concentration of cell sap. So what is that high concentration of cell sap? That means the water is present and mineral is present, but very less amount of water is present and more of a minerals are present in that case. Okay. Alright, so in that case you can see there is a water and there is a mineral. So hyper concentration is maintained. So with respect to hyper concentration, so what exactly happens here? So they also contain a large vacuole that is filled with a sort of solution called as a cell sap. Now some salts are dissolved in it, and the cell sap therefore basically has a higher concentration than that of the surrounding water. So in that case, now this is the epidermal cell. So surrounding it is a hypotonic solution. So surrounding is a hypotonic solution, and inside the vacuole over here, so hypertonic condition is maintained. So what will happen? So you can see that the water will move from hypotonic solution to a hypertonic solution. So this is basically water movement. So what exactly is the condition in hypotonic? In hypotonic you can see that the water is more, okay, and the solutes, basically the minerals what we mentioned, so solutes here are less. So what about hypertonic? So in case of hypertonic the water is less but the solutes are more, and you can just imagine now the reason that here the cell sap is maintained as a high concentration, that is, usually has a concentration higher than that of the surrounding water. So why exactly this is maintained as a high concentration? The reason being, as a root hair contain the higher concentration of cell sap, so basically you can see the water is being absorbed. If it was hypotonic and surrounding was hypertonic, then there wouldn't be water movement inside. So in order to maintain this hypertonic, so hypertonic is always maintained by the cell so that the water will move from hypotonic solution, that is surrounding, let's say this is basically from the soil. So in that case the water can be taken inside. Okay, so this characteristic is an important requirement to draw in the outside water, that is for the occurrence of osmosis. Any doubt, any of you? All right. So now with respect to that, so this characteristic is an important requirement. So why it is an important requirement? So that is because you can see that the water is being drawn, that is from hypotonic solution to a hyper. Just a second, excuse me. Yeah, so as the movement occurs from hypo to hypertonic condition, so you can see that the water will start to move in, and by that you can see there is an increase in the volume of the vacuole, so that is cellular content. So this cell membrane is also going to increase, so cell wall is going to exert a pressure, so because the cell wall is rigid actually, so now both of them are going to extend to some extent, and this condition of a cell we call the cell is turgid in nature. So that is because mainly it is having the higher concentration of water due to the endosmosis. So the process what occurred here is endosmosis. Why exactly endosmosis? Because the water moved inside the cell, and hence it is called as a endosmosis process. Yes, is this clear? Any doubt? Just a second. Okay, so now with respect to that, yeah. So the third point, that is with respect to characteristics of root hair is, so root hair is having a thin wall. So like all plants, the cells, so basically you know that there is a plant cell when we mention. So the plant cell is having, there is the cell membrane. So let me just draw this. So there is the cell wall that is present. Okay, so this one is the cell wall. Then you can see there is a cell membrane that is present, and this is basically the cell membrane itself. And now you can see there is a vacuole where 90% of the volume of the volume of the plant cell, so this is covered by the vacuole itself. So this is vacuole now. Okay, and here this part what you see, so this one is the cell membrane part, and here what you see, so this one is the cell wall here. Now with respect to all of this, so you can basically see there is a difference. And here according to the third feature which is mentioned, that is the characteristics of root hair. So root hair are having a thin wall. So what exactly is the reason for this one? So like all plant cells, like root hair, they also have a two outer layers. So one is the cell wall, and then there is a cell membrane. So you know that the cell wall is basically, you know, it will be rigid. So this is going to provide a particular shape to the cell. So cell wall is thin and it is permeable. So we always mention that whenever we draw a cell wall, so we always say that the cell wall is freely permeable, right? So cell wall is freely permeable. And cell membrane, when we mention, so cell membrane is basically, you can see this is partially permeable, or we say that this is semi permeable. So that means what? So you can see that the movement of water and the minerals. Okay, so water and mineral movement which is occurring, so basically easy movement of water and minerals can occur here. So this can be for a water and minerals, so both are allowed to move inside easily. And this is, since it is thin, so there is a passage of this water or the mineral, so this is going to get easier. So like all plants, this, that is with respect to plant cells. So root hair also have a two outer layer. So there is a cell wall, there is a cell membrane. Now the cell wall is thin and it is permeable, that is freely permeable. So it allows the movement of water molecules. So that is, you know, the water molecule and dissolved substance. So what are those dissolved substances? Basically you can find ions, like there might be sodium, and there might be chloride, so there might be nitrites, and you know there is a magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, so different things that you can see. So basically the movement of minerals or the ions when we mention, so potassium as well, so these can be taken through the water. So dissolved substances freely in and out of the cell. So if the cell wall is thinner, then so you can just have a look at this picture. Let me just erase this. Okay. So here is a picture of epidermal cell. So this is a cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, vacuole is there. So this is a nucleus. Root hair beginning to grow out. So you can see that this particular cell wall and a cell membrane has started to extend. So here you can see already to some extent there is an extension that is done. So root hair are, like, you know, they have started to grow out, and now this is a fully grown root hair. So you can see this is a completely grown root hair, which is not because of the meristematic tissue. So this is just the extension from the epidermal cell itself. So in that case, the fully grown root hair can be seen over there. Now the cell membrane, when we mention, any doubt in this part? Any of you? Any doubt? Okay, so this is, this is done. So moving on to next one, the cell membrane. So cell membrane, we all know that. So cell membrane, when we mention, so it is semi-permeable, or we say that the cell membrane can be called even as a partially permeable membrane. So here with respect to that, so cell membrane, always remember that it allows the water to move in freely. So water is allowed freely. So water can allow, I mean, it can be moved in, but the solutes are not allowed. So solutes are not allowed. So this is freely allowed, we can write. Okay, so that is basically water is nothing but the solvent here. Okay, and the solutes here are not allowed to move in. So that is across the semi-permeable membrane. So which is a cell membrane, and hence we call this as the partially permeable membrane. So this one is partially permeable, or this can even be called as a semi-permeable membrane. So this one is semi-permeable or partially permeable. So that means it allows the water to move in easily, but it does not allow the solutes, so that is ions or minerals, to move in easily. Okay, any doubt till here? So cell membrane is very thin. So this is also very thin, and it is semi-permeable or partially permeable, which means that it allows the water molecules to pass through, but not the larger molecules of the dissolved salts. So larger molecules of the dissolved salts cannot pass through this particular membrane. So secret of the absorption of water, that is from the soil by the root, lies mainly in this character. So what is the secret here? So secret is that, hypertonic solution or high concentration of solute is maintained. Okay, so high concentration of solute is maintained inside the vacuole or in the cell. So that is basically is the one which makes the water to be absorbed. So why the water is getting absorbed? Because you can see that the water will move from hypotonic solution to the hypertonic solution, because this one is the hypertonic solution. So high concentration of solute, not with respect to water there. Let's have a look at some of the questions that are there. I hope this is clear. Yeah, so the water is transported up to the leaves. So this is through cortex cells, parenchyma, xylem, and phloem. Any idea what is the answer for this? Any of you? So how exactly water is transported up to the leaves? So one thing, anyway, I'll be discussing about the turgidity, flaccidity, as well as root pressure in the next class. Okay, and along with that, the turgidity part, so I'll be explaining about what exactly is making the turgidity, like the cell to have a turgid condition or a flaccid condition. What is the process, like plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, I'll explain in the next class. So that is at 7:45 p.m. Okay, so today itself, so 7:45 I'll be taking a session on root pressure, turgidity and flaccidity. Yes, what is the answer for this? The water is transported up to the leaves, that is through cortex cell, the parenchyma, xylem and phloem. No idea? So you can see that basically we all know that xylem. Okay, so xylem through which the water transportation occurs, and xylem is unidirectional one. So what is the meaning of unidirectional one? So that means the water has to move. Okay, so water will move from where to where? The water will move from root. Okay, so that is root to upper parts of the plant body. So this is basically the upper parts of plant body. So with respect to that, we can say, one second, so this is upper parts of the plant body. So in that case, you can see that the movement of water, so that is from root to the upper parts of the plant body, which is, you know, against the gravity. So you can see that the movement of water is basically against the gravity. So in that case, there is a pull that is required, and in the xylem there is a suction pull that is created. Okay, so that is at the xylem itself the suction pull is created, and that's the reason you can see that the water will move in single direction, that is unidirection, and only in one direction, where you can see that the water will move from root to the upper parts of the plant body, that is the aerial parts. So that is against the gravity in a single direction, because there is a suction pull created. So answer for this one is, anyway, it is a xylem. So now root hair are surrounded by two layers. Okay, so what are those two layers with respect to root hair? And among these, which one is selectively permeable to certain specific substances only? So what is that selectively permeable? So which can also be called as partially permeable. Okay, or the other one can even be mentioned as semi-permeable. So this can even be called as a semi-permeable. So what is the semi-permeable or partially permeable membrane here? Is that cell wall or cell membrane or cytoplasm or none of the above? Okay, so this one is basically, this is you know, the cell wall is freely permeable and it is mentioned selectively. So that means it is partially permeable or semi permeable, or which can even be called as a selectively permeable. So that means it allows only selective materials to pass through. So that means water is allowed to move in, the solutes are not allowed to move in easily. So it is the cell membrane. So water absorption by roots, okay, that occurs when, so solute concentration is high in cell sap, solute concentration is high in soil, then there is no light, the plant is respiring rapidly. Yes, any idea on this? So that is with respect to water absorption by roots. This occurs when the solute concentration is high in cell sap. Solute concentration is high in soil. Okay, so the second point of characteristics of root hair explains water. So solute concentration is high in the cell sap, and that's the reason the cell sap, as it is maintained as a high concentration, that is hypertonic solution. So basically you can see that the water will start to move in, so that is from the surrounding soil, because here in the soil it is a hypotonic solution, and here inside this is maintained as a hypertonic solution. So that is reason being, so what exactly is the reason for this? Because, you know, as the cell sap is maintained as a high concentration, so basically you can see that the water will always move from their region of higher concentration, so this is with respect to water, to their region of a lower concentration. So here the water is of lower concentration inside the cell sap, because the high concentration of solute is maintained, and that's the reason, you know, water movement will occur, and that is why this particular cell will be rigid, that is by water movement, or otherwise, you know, the turgidity of the cell is maintained by the water movement, or otherwise what will happen, the cell is gonna turn flaccid in nature, so that is without the water. And you can see that wilting of a plant or drooping down of a plant can be seen. So reason being, the not water is not available there, so solute concentration is high in the cell sap. So moving on to next one. For absorption of water and minerals, the most effective process is, so diffusion, osmosis, ionic exchange, all of this. Yes, so this is with respect to absorption of water and minerals. So the most effective process is asked here. As it is mentioned, the water and minerals also, so this can be all of this. So diffusion occurs there, all right, and osmosis occurs, the ionic exchange also occurs, so that is to take in the mineral. So in that case, active transport also has to occur, so ionic exchange is also important, then osmosis is also important. So it is all the three processes are required in here, all right. Any doubt, any of you? So characteristics of root hair was discussed. So we know three of the characteristics are there. So one is the huge surface area that is gonna cover, that will be covered by the root hair. Then high concentration of cell sap is maintained, and the third one being the cell wall is thinner there. Okay. Alright, so before I end this session, so we have a batch. So this is a gladiators batch, and this one is the ongoing batch right now, which is a all subject batch. So if you are subscribing for class 10, so you will be getting class 11 and class 12 subscription absolutely free. And since some of these sessions are done, so you have an option to watch the recordings, and there are many more sessions which are yet to go live, so you can watch the live sessions there. Okay, and mainly the maths, physics, chemistry and biology will be covered, and the mode of delivery is English. So this one is the upcoming batch. Okay, so the batch which is given here, so this one is upcoming batch, which is gonna start from July 13th, and the mode of delivery here is English. So maths, physics, chemistry and biology will be covered. So if you're planning to take the subscription, so this is my referral code Vani YT to get 10% discount on the subscription. So in that case, basically you can subscribe for class 10, you will be getting class 11 and 12 subscription absolutely free. And here like maths, physics, chemistry and biology will be covered here as well. So we have an offer, that is ICSE combo offer for class 9 as well as for class 10. So this is for class 9 and for class 10. So let's say you are subscribing for class 10. Okay, and also in the meanwhile, if you are preparing for NEET or JEE, so you can even go ahead with this. So this is a combo offer where you can go for 1 year subscription with this particular amount. So instead of 34,500, so it is basically 31,050, and on top basically there is a code, this is Vani YT, where you can get 10% discount on the subscription. So it is applicable for both class 9 as well as for class 10. So this is completely your choice, and this is the respective amount on which you will be getting 10% discount by usage of the Vani YT code. Alright, so you can go ahead with this. So those who are preparing for NEET as well as IIT JEE now itself. Okay, so introducing community, so never miss on any update from your favorite educator. So get session notes and practice material. Share your feedback directly with the educator via poll. So check out the link to the educator community below. So there is a Bucks Bounty. This is opportunity for all learners to report any inappropriate content in the video. So be the first one to report a particular issue to claim your prize. Report any inappropriate content using the form in the description. Alright, so any doubt, any of you? So if you have any doubt, do ask right away. Or you can even join my Telegram channel, that is Unacademy, ICSE and ISE both channel. You can join and you can ask a doubt there, or you can join my personal channel, that is Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 biology. Also you can join them. Okay, and yes, before I end this session, okay, so this is, subscribe to our channel, that is Unacademy, ICSE and ISE boards. Click on bell icon to get notified about the session. Like and share the video and download the Unacademy Learners app now. So this PDF anyway I have taken from the Selena textbook itself. So if you have Selena textbook, so that would be more than sufficient, or otherwise if you still need a note, so you can join my Telegram or the community, so there I can send the notes. So see you all in the next session. Bye bye everyone. Thank you all. Take care.